Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all, and welcome back to another episode of the Redefining Wellness Podcast. It's your girl Neek. Hey y'all, and I hope that you are feeling wonderful, awesome, and amazing, and all the things that makes you you. Welcome back to the podcast that helps you to redefine the way that you view wellness one episode at a time so that you can be healthy unapologetically and authentically, so that you can take up as much space on this earth as you want to. Hey y'all, I was supposed to make an episode that was supposed to come out last week, but y'all know how life gets, and y'all know how my life gets, especially if you are not new here, okay? And it's my show, so I can do what I want to. But welcome, new members, new listeners, new subscribers. Hola, ¿cómo estás? It's going to get crazy up in here just a little bit. And shout out to our friends that have been here. But if you're here without a commitment, press that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening on your favorite podcast streaming network. Shout out to the Alive Podcast Network. Make sure that you like, follow, do all of the things. And don't forget to rate and review the show. Let me know how I'm doing so that I know to make, better content or to keep doing what I'm doing. So, since we are now on YouTube, I wanted to start a new segment called Mug of the Episode. So today's mug of the episode is this very cute Christmas peanuts mug that I actually got from Marshall's in the checkout aisle. Y'all know how Marshall's checkout aisle be doing. But wanted to show y'all that. And if you're not watching on YouTube, you missed out on something amazing. So let's get into this week's episode, y'all. So much has been happening in my world. This week's episode, I really wanted to talk about some of the discourse that I've been experiencing on social media. When you decide to go against the grain of others or you decide to not sip the Kool-Aid. I'll dig a little bit deeper into that, but y'all know we have our 3 segments that we do. And if you want to participate in those segments, remember you can always email redefiningwellnesspod@gmail.com. So segment number 1, song of the week. What have I been listening to? What has been flowing through my ears? And this is actually a slight segue into what's Neek watching. So, we're going to do both at the same time. So, I watched The Reckoning, P. Diddy. First of all, 50 Cent, pettiest nigga alive. But we knew 50 Cent was like this. We knew this, right? Pettiest nigga alive. But song of the week lately, I've been listening to a lot of Danity Kane all over again. I've been really diving deep into their catalog, especially because they recently have announced that they're doing like a little tour. They actually already started. It's D Woods, Aubrey, and Andrea, shockingly enough. Too bad they're not coming to the East Coast because your girl definitely would have went. But their music, like, I'm a big girls group listener. I grew up on Destiny's Child. I listened to the Spice Girls. I listened to all of the girls. There's so many girl groups you can't name TLC is my favorite to this day. TLC will never not be my favorite. But Danity Kane, I think it's something so special and so connecting for so many of us when it comes to them because we watch their group unfold on television. And something that I typically do every couple of years is I find the unauthorized making bands on YouTube here on this platform, if you're watching on YouTube. But I find the old Making the Band episodes and I watch it from Diddy's first season of Da Band. Personally, did I like Da Band's music? No. They had a few little somethings, there's a little something, something, but wasn't a fan of them, right? But when Danity Kane came onto the scene, it was like watching their Making the Band, and then when the album finally came out, and then you saw Making the Band their second season, then their second album, it's another level of connection. It's another level of nostalgic. Just like I talked to y'all about the Brandy and Monica tour, kind of the same thing. Like when you see something or feel something in your environment that kind of reminds you of where you were at a certain time in your life, it kind of makes you want to dive back into it. So, like, when they first did Danity Kane's season of making the band, I was probably in college. It was probably like my freshman, sophomore year. I lied. I think that season came out when I was like ending high school because Day 26's seasons, I was like a sophomore in college. Yeah, so Danity Kane's whole thing was like when I was getting ready to come out of high school. But I have really been diving deep into their music, really been falling like back in love with that version of R&B. And I know some of y'all are probably like, "What? Danity Kane music wasn't hitting?" For me, Danity Kane's music was hitting. And another album that I did get a chance to listen to, I finally listened to Wale's album. Yeah, it's doing the things. And because I listened to Wale's album, of course, I had to dive back into one of my favorite Wale albums, which is the Ambition album. That album probably got me through 2012. That album was so good. And that was back when I used to drive from Dover to Salisbury 2 to 3 times a week when I was getting my master's. And I just would put on Ambition and just would fly up and down 13 like a bat out of damn hell. But music, I'm excited to see what comes for 2026. Y'all know the rumor is that Act 3 is probably going to come out, so we'll definitely see about that. But for me, I've really been Danity Kane. And I listened to Danity Kane earlier today before I started recording this episode. So that I would say that is my song or my group or my album of the week. And I think my favorite Danity Kane album of their three, Welcome to the Dollhouse, is absolutely to me is their best album. You could hear vocally how they all have changed. You could hear growth in their voices. They blended a lot better together. There were a lot more harmonies. There were a lot more, not necessarily ad libs, but like the background vocals were actually really good too. And I'm a background vocals girly. Like, I like those little parts where like you really got to listen to the song and know the part and all that stuff. So I think Welcome to the Dollhouse is their best album. And to kind of segue into what's Nick watching, I've been watching a lot of things, lots of documentaries, a lot of documentaries. But that Diddy Reckoning documentary, everything they said he did it. If you did not believe it before, he absolutely did it. And it's so funny because one of my homegirls, her mother-in-law, well, she's from New York, her mother-in-law's from New York too. And I was like, you have to watch it with her so she can give us the background tea of like, really being a part of the culture during that time. And she said the same thing. She said, yeah, we knew all of those things that were happening. Everybody in New York knew all those things that were going on. So 50 Cent is petty. Y'all should have knew 50 Cent was petty. Like, I don't know why so many people are surprised at 50 Cent doing this. Like, it's 50 Cent of all people. But I think the way that the documentary was done, and y'all know I watch a lot of documentaries, the way that it was done, it definitely painted him the way that they did it. It was the way that they did it and the music that was associated with the documentary in the sense of like just the random songs when certain scenes came up, like they was wildin'. They was wildin'. But the way that it was put together, I'm happy that it was not grotesque like the Surviving R. Kelly docuseries. So I was happy that it wasn't as gut-wrenching as that. Um 50 Cent had a little bit of class there, I guess you could say. But I think what really disturbed me in the documentary was there was a certain part when Diddy went to Harlem and he was shaking hands with the people. And he's like, yeah, I'm in the streets, I'm with the people. And for me watching it, I knew immediately you're only doing that because you want to get the public on your side so that it looks better for you when you're in court, right? So then when he gets in the car, he's like, oh, I gotta take like triple showers. I gotta the water gotta be boiling. And to me, it was like, how snidely whiplash of you to use these people essentially. And now you're sitting here just like, ugh, ugh, ugh. It's 4 people around. Hide the money. You know what I'm saying? So I thought that that was interesting. First, and whoever sold them tapes to 50 Cent, Oh, 50 Cent paid you a lot of fucking money because the fact that you even handed the tapes over to him, insane. Um, and then another scene that had me a little bit at pause or with my pearls a little clutched was when they talked to the sex worker guy. And I was like, "Oh, y'all got him to be in the documentary?" There was so much. Aubrey's what Aubrey talked about in either that 3rd or that 4th episode, um, that was that was a lot, but man, 50 Cent is a petty nigga. That's all I can say. That's a petty nigga. Um, Another documentary that I did happen to stumble upon, if you are a college football fan, and the reason why I watched this documentary is because I love sports documentaries, as y'all know. I think like at least every year or every other year, I watch Last Dance, which is a 10-part docuseries about the Bulls and their last season with Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan, Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, all these people, right? Um, and Steve Kerr. And I watch OJ Made in America at least once or every 2 years because those are really great documentaries. So I'm getting ready. Watch, I need to find somebody's Disney Plus login, but they just came out with the 30 for 30 for Stuart Scott. Stuart Scott was, may he rest in peace, one of the greatest sports broadcast journalists, in my opinion, of all time. And he, I think, in my recollection of sports media, he was one of the first. He was one of the first. And he really brought the culture to ESPN. And he emphasized, especially with basketball, emphasized the black culture within basketball. He really coined a lot of terms that have later been used, like booyah. And, he's cooler than the other side of the pillow. That's Stuart Scott. And in preparation for me to watch that documentary, I started watching some other 30 for 30s that I haven't watched. And one 30 for 30 that I just watched is Swamp Boys, and it's about the University of Florida football team, the Gators. As we're getting into like the Rose Bowl is coming up, and then like the championship college game is coming up. I was like, oh, this is perfect timing. Let me go ahead and watch this. Really good documentary, really kind of gets you to understand the inner workings, the mental health, the psychology of a collegiate athlete, especially a collegiate athlete that plays on such a high profile level. And the time period that they focused on for the Gators was during Tim Tebow's time. So I remember hearing a lot about Tim Tebow. I knew he was a Heisman winner, but I never really understood like the full hype behind Tim Tebow. I never understood the full hype behind the Florida Gators because I'm from Maryland, so I'm automatically going to like the Terps. Talk all the shit that you want to, but I will forever be a Terps fan. But anyways, I didn't understand the hype, and after watching the documentary, I saw the hype. So if you're, watching and I know primarily it's women that listen to this show, watch this show. If your man is a college football fan, I would strongly suggest tell him if he hasn't watched this 30 for 30 or if he hasn't watched the Stuart Scott documentary yet, tell them to get into it. I thought it was really good. And I love 30 for 30s. Some of them are really sad, like Lynn Bias's sad. Um I don't remember the boy's name from Chicago. I just know his first name was Benji. Very sad. They go into they do so many episodes, but it's really, really good. Check it out. So our next segment, and so my therapist said, y'all know this is moments where my therapist has drugged me by my front teeth, told me about myself, but has helped me to be a better person. The other reason why I really wanted to wait to record this episode is because I hadn't had therapy in a month, and there was some really great things that came about from this past therapy session. One of them, I talked to my therapist about how I went to the Brandy and Monica show with my sister-in-law, and one of the things that can be very challenging, especially as the eldest daughter and as the only daughter, is accepting another woman into your family, especially when it's always for me. I can't stop saying especially, but for me, being that it's always been me, my mother, my brother, my daddy. And so she helped me, not helped me, but I expressed my gratitude for my sister-in-law. And, my therapist was like, "You should tell her how you feel. Tell her how grateful you are." Because I hear horror stories about um the sister-in-law dynamics. I hear horror stories about mother-in-law and daughter-in-law dynamics. And I'm really blessed that my mother and my sister-in-law have a really great relationship. And my mother always said, I had a great relationship with my mother-in-law, so I'm gonna have a great relationship with my daughter-in-law. And for me, it was that she was so caring to my mom that I was like, yeah, she's good people's in my book. Like, that's good people's. But being able to talk about it in therapy was really great. And another thing that my therapist brought up this week, which I think will really resonate with a lot of folks too, especially as we're going into the new year, is how to deal with people that have hurt you or that have slighted you in some type of way and you still have to deal with them, whether it's like family members or coworkers or maybe it's someone that's within an organization that you're in and you're like, I'm going to continue to see this person and I don't know how to deal with it. And so um my therapist said to look at it like this. You have a rattlesnake. The rattlesnake needs to be fed, right? And it's a rattlesnake, it's poisonous, all of these things, who this person is. And so, in order to feed the rattlesnake, to feed it the rats, you have to, be careful, not careful, but that how they're going to pop off, essentially. Like she said, we know rattlesnakes are poisonous, they pop, they do these things. She said, treat people like you would treating a rattlesnake. You're kind of withhold or you from afar, like you feed from afar, if that makes sense. You just know what you're going to get. You know what I'm saying? So her saying that it really helped me with several situations that I've dealt with in my life and situations that I'm currently going through. And I hope that that helps somebody because I know a lot of us are dealing with situations where we're like, I really don't like this person. I really don't vibe with this person anymore. And I still have to be around them. I still have to do all of these things. So definitely look at it from the rattlesnake analogy. They're poisonous. You know that they're going to. So, what do you have to do to protect yourself when you have to feed them, AKA when you have to interact with them? As mentioned, y'all, if you would like to contribute to one of the three segments, whether it is Song of the Week, whether it's What's Sneak Watching, or And So My Therapist Said, you can always email me at redefiningwellnesspod@gmail.com. You can send me a DM on Instagram, Redefining Wellness Pod, or on my personal/business Instagram at HeyNiqueV. So to get into the real nitty gritties of the conversation today, today's conversation is about crowd validation. Do we really need it, especially when we're on our wellness journey? Now, let me just tell y'all what happened to me. So, I have been making a lot of content. I've been batching content. I have been creating a lot of videos. I've been doing all the things. And I've also been going to the doctor. So, I went to the doctor and I just wanted to ask about my hormones because I have been experiencing excessive hair growth in certain areas, right? And that honestly is a huge sign of PCOS. So I wanted to make sure that my hormones were on point. And also, if you have been listening to the podcast for a while, one of the things that I noticed is I had this very excessive weight gain kind of out of nowhere. And I was trying to figure out what was going on with it. And so I literally went to the doctor and I said, "Hey, I would like to get a hormone check. Like, can we check my hormones?" So my doctor says, "Oh, well, why?" And I said, "Well, I've had a little excessive weight gain and, da 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 da." And so then she says, "Oh, well, your insurance will cover for you to get on a little GLP-1. Like, you fit the BMI. We can get you rolling with that." That's not what I asked you. That's not what I asked you. That's not what I asked you, babes. I asked for a hormone check. That's what I want. I want to check my hormones. And so they check my hormones, they do blood tests, whatever. And of course, nobody calls me to have a conversation about how to even interpret the shit. So I had to figure it out my fucking self. I had to go like on Google and, everything. And my hormones are fine. So I said, okay, well, I have been dealing with a lot of stress. I have been dealing with some things. So, let me try to figure out some ways to ease my stress. And then, my body will get itself back to normal. And then I was also coming off of birth control. So coming off of birth control, it can really affect your hormones. Like your shit is just haywire. And from what I learned is that it takes the number of months that you were on birth control by the year in order for your body to come back to normal. So, for example, I was on birth control for like 10 years. I started birth control in like 2013, and I didn't get off birth control until like 2023, maybe like 2024 ish. No, I got off birth control like June 2024. And so when I went to the doctor, and actually I talked to my therapist about it too, and they were like, "Yeah, you've been on birth control for this long. It's going to take this number of months from the time that you stopped in order for your body to find some space of normalcy again." I'm just hitting that, and it's December 2025, and my body is just hitting the space of normalcy. Yeah. So, so we talked about all of those things, and again, nobody interpreted my hormone panel with me, and so then I went to the OBGYN. So I went to the OBGYN, and I'm thinking, "Oh my gosh, Black lady, this is gonna be an amazing experience." And I think I talked a little bit about this already. So, go to the doctor, and she kind of, I don't wanna say harasses me, but she chastises me about not having a child. So then I was like, "Girl, I don't got no man. Why would I don't have a man. I'm not, why?" She said, "Oh, well, you it's okay if you do it by yourself." I know you fucking lying. And so then I talked to her again, so she starts talking to me about my weight. I said, "Well, I did just go get a hormone check, and from Google, my hormone check seemed to be okay." So then she talks to me about GLP-1s too. And also, I forgot to tell y'all this. When I went to my PCP, she was like, "Well, how do you plan to lose the weight?" What do you mean, how do I plan to lose the weight? Did you not see my occupation that's in my damn chart? So, and I had on my coach's shirt. So I said, "Well, I plan to diet and exercise." And she kinda looked at me like, "Okay." I was like, "What the fuck?" So, I get chastised from my PCP, get chastised about not having kids by OBGYN, and then I get chastised because I'm at a higher weight. And she mentions GLP-1s to me also. And I'm like, nobody wants to give me a dietitian. Nobody wants to, because when I was younger, as y'all know, I dealt with my weight my whole life. And so when I was younger, I went to a registered dietitian, shout out to Kaiser, and that lady was great. She taught us how to look at portions and to eat your portions. And then if you're still hungry, then you can get another portion, but not to overkill it. And as y'all know, my mom is Jamaican. What do we do? Half the damn plate is rice. Duh. So, but she was awesome. I went to a dietitian. And so, but now it's like, wouldn't y'all at least think to hire to say, get a dietitian, or hey, let's see how you do with you dieting and exercising, come back in 3 months? Nobody did that. No one did that. And so I made a social media post, and it was to the sounds of Regina George screaming when she found out that Katie was giving her the Caltine bars. And in my comment, I said, "Me, every time I go to the doctor and my doctor tries to put me on a GLP-1." And there were a lot of comments. There were a lot of the girls, because mostly women. There are men that use GLP-1s also, but majority of the users are women. And one of my homegirls wrote her experience, and she said it just didn't make me feel good, so I stopped using it. And a few other ladies responded the same way. A few people got on that post and chastised the girls that wrote comments about how it didn't work for them. And they were like, well, did you eat your protein? Did you have your electrolytes? Did you do this? Did you do that? Da, 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 da. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. This ain't the post for that. And another person put, oh, this is an Ozempic bashing post. I'll be scrolling. You ain't scroll that hard because then you commented in the comments, then you also chastise my homegirls. So I had to make another post on social media and I was like, it is okay to not drink the Kool-Aid. Like, it's okay to do what works best for you and your body as we're on this wellness journey. Maybe something might have worked for someone else. It doesn't always mean it's going to work for me or it's going to work for you. And that's one of the reasons why for years, if you've been following me, I always talk about how the diet that works for someone else is not going to be the diet that works for you, or the exercise, the repetition of exercise, the intensity of exercise. What works for someone else may not work for you. Even when we look at the difference between men and women, what works for men doesn't work for women, and that is okay. You know what I'm saying? Not even just with diet and exercise and weight loss and things like that. Our experiences in life are just different. Our perspectives are different. It's okay if I had a particular experience with somebody and it sucked, but then someone else has a particular experience with that same person and they're like, oh my gosh, it was the best thing ever. Like, oh my gosh. It's okay. Even just like with going to certain places to eat or taking certain trips or just having certain experiences, it is okay if it works for you and it doesn't work for somebody else. It doesn't mean that you should invalidate somebody's experience and tell them that, oh, you did it wrong. That's why it didn't work for you. What the fuck? Like, and it was I had to check myself before I made that post also because outside of the wellness scope, I have to remember that when it comes to my friends and their experiences with like dating or with child having children or with their relationships with their parents or relationships with other friends, how you perceive something is not the same that somebody else is going to perceive it. And if we bring it back once again to the diet and exercise, movement, and all of those things, like with me being an Orange Theory head coach, someone's experience with Orange Theory could be the best fucking thing ever. But another person's experience with Orange Theory could be, it just wasn't for me. I'm not going to, "Oh, well, what about your coach? What about this? What about that?" And make it seem like it's their fault because of the experience that they had. You know what I'm saying? So I really would like for everyone to remember, and I know I've said this before, like with your wellness journey, your lane is your lane. Stop looking at other people's lanes. Even if your lane is flowing, it's moving, there's no traffic ahead of you. If there's traffic in other people's lanes, leave them alone. Don't go in their lane and try to tell them, oh, but no, no. Your journey is your journey, and every journey is not meant to be the same. Whether it is when it comes for fitness and health, or occupation, or social, or mental health, or intellectual health, it's not the same. Everyone's experience isn't going to be the same. It's just not. Like, even I was having a conversation with my homegirl last night. Our dating experiences aren't going to be the same because we're into different men. We're into different kinds of men. So what I experience is what I experience, and what she's gonna experience is what she's gonna experience. Even another homegirl, she's a mom. And what I'm gonna experience if I'm blessed to become a mother is what I'm gonna experience, and what she's experiencing is what she's experiencing. It's not up to me to validate or invalidate somebody's experience. Now, what we can do is validate that their experience is just what they perceived it to be. You can be like, damn, I, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like if somebody comes to me and, okay, like for example, I have glaucoma and I've been taking drops for years. And one of my side effects from my drops is my eyelashes grow like crazy, like crazy. And I sometimes it annoys me because I'll have like my eyelashes will fall out and but they grow, but they'll get in my eye and it's like, oh, this is annoying, right? But they actually came out with a eye drop that you can take, which has a small substrate of the medicine that I take for my eyes, and it's purposely for growing your eyelashes. And I'm like, why would anybody want to take that? Like, but then it's like, this is someone else's perception. Like for me, it has a level of annoyance, right? Especially because my eyelashes don't grow and curl, they like grow out. So I had to buy an eyelash curler. But for me, it has a level of annoyance where somebody else is like, oh my God, yes, I'm going to take this substrate of this medication because this is what I want to experience. Whereas me, I'm taking it so that I'm not blind. You know what I mean? So validate someone's, I can say, you know what? I can understand why you would want to take that. It's like now I've had to learn with the GLP-1s, and I was very staunchly against it. I've had to understand everybody's journey in their body, in their wellness journey, in their fitness journey, in their self love journey is not the same as mine. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's philosophy or principles when it comes to taking medications and doing certain things, it's not the same as mine. And I have to accept that someone is going to go a particular type of route. You know what I'm saying? Even like with the whole BBL thing, that was, I mean, I guess it's still huge, but I would never do that because of my principles, my philosophies, and also I don't like going, I don't like elective surgery. I've had so many surgeries in my life. I don't want to do elective surgery. It's just not, I'll do the surgery if they say you need it, bibs. But other than that, but that's just me, right? I cannot invalidate someone else's experience and feelings as to why they feel that they need to go a particular route in their life that they do. But also, if something is not working for somebody, you cannot invalidate that they're having their experience and then chastise them about why it didn't work for them. I need y'all to go outside and touch grass. We need to be touching grass. We need to touch it. Put your toe in it. Take your shoes off. There is more in this life that's going on than, you know what I'm saying, than your own shit. Everybody got their own shit. So I hope that this week's episode maybe made you feel validated. I hope that it makes you look at somebody else's experience under a new light. And you can, I don't want to say get off your high horse, but maybe get off your high horse and give these people a break. Okay. Give them a break. Give them a break. But be there for people. If they are experiencing something negative, be there as a comfort, be there as a friend, be there, however they may need you or whatever capacity, but be there for people. Don't chastise them. Don't make them feel worse about a situation that they already feel like shit about. Be there for them. All right, y'all. Now, per usual, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Thank you for supporting. Remember to follow me on all of the socials. I'm gonna have another episode come out before the new year because we gotta get y'all ready. We gotta get y'all ready for 2026. And also, I didn't give y'all a quick little other backstory about this peanuts mug. So if you're new to the Neek universe, I love Charlie Brown stuff. I love all things peanuts. I have so much peanut shit in my house. Everybody buys me peanut stuff. I love the peanuts. Okay. My line name for Alpha Phi Omega 1925 is Snoopy. Okay. I love peanut shit. That's my thing. So that's a little backstory. I can't not see anything. And Woodstock is one of my faves. Snoopy is one of my faves. I can't go anywhere and see some peanut shit and not pick it up. So I love it. But once again, y'all, thank you so much for listening to the show. Thank you so much for watching. Shout out to the new YouTube subscribers that are out there. Make sure that you tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to hit the subscribe button, to follow on whatever podcast streaming network that you're listening to the show on. Don't forget to write a review, leave a comment, something. Y'all know that it helps my channel to grow, it helps the podcast to grow so that we can get some new listeners, some new watchers. As always, y'all, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And thank you for being uniquely fit. See ya.